Good morning, everyone. Good morning. My name is Kushal Ashok, and I am from India. Yeah. 大家好，我叫小柯，我来中国2年半，我是印度人。So this is my current level of Chinese, but I am an expat in China. So, do you understand the word expat? What does it mean? A person from a foreign country, in your country, doing what? God knows what. Why did he come here? Work. Yeah, I came here for work. But work is not the only thing we do. I go to the office at 9 a.m. and probably finish at 6, sometimes do overtime, like all Chinese and Indian people do. And we'll finish off maybe around 9 sometimes. But what about weekends? I have to get out of that comfort zone where all my colleagues can speak in English, right? On the weekend, I have to go and find places, go to a park, take a cab, and all these people don't want me to use English. I remember the first time I landed in Shanghai International Airport. I went to the cab driver and I said, I want to go to the TEDxYouth. Oh, sorry, it's Xi'an, right? In Shanghai, it was some other Lu. And then the driver looked at me. He looked at my face and he looked at my phone. He looked at my face and he was sure he did not understand anything. All I had to do was take out the visiting card of my office, which had the address written in Chinese language. But that's not always the case, right? Like coming over here. Initially, I just asked the address in Chinese. But guess what? I cannot read that address. For me, those are foreign characters. I don't understand anything. Now why? Why exactly you think? Other than the work, of course, we need to learn another language. Now today, I'm going to share with you my experience of learning Mandarin. However, the agenda is to motivate each and every one of you to learn more and more languages. I'm pretty sure most of you are already practicing your English, making it better and better, right? But what about other languages? Is English the only one that you have to learn? Well, it certainly is the most important one these days because it is the language for international business, right? Wherever you travel, if you know English, it's good. And by the way, you guys are so lucky. Your first language is Chinese, which is the most spoken language in the whole world. Wherever I go, I can find Indian, but Indians do speak English, right? And I can find Chinese people who would definitely like it if I speak Chinese. I went to this worldwide developer conference in San Francisco this month. It's called Apple's WWDC. And there were 200 Chinese developers over there. All developers who write code like this. And the outlet for me to get in touch with those 200 people was to speak in Chinese. Even if I say, 我叫何小柯, the impression I get is like, wow! 你的汉语很好. It's like, really? Okay. Maybe not, but at least it gives me an entrance, an icebreaker. Because some people are shy. And the best way to talk to shy people is to use their mother tongue. For you, it would be Chinese. For foreigners, it would be English. So even though I know Chinese, I would feel more comfortable when you talk to me in English. And I would feel even more comfortable if any of you know Hindi, which is my mother tongue, right? So now that we know why, let's get a quick look of a video which I shot while learning Chinese, and I have this with my Chinese teacher and few of my friends who are learning Chinese with me.
我在中国，因为我想学习嘛，因为我有 一个5年的打算，我来中国学习汉语3个年，然后我去德国学习德语2个年，然后我觉得我找工作。
你好，大家好，我来中国因为我很要知道怎么说汉语，
学习汉语。
学习汉语，对，我想见韩国新朋友，我很喜欢中国文化，我也很喜欢中国菜。在中国，我非常喜欢中国饭，我很喜欢黄焖鸡、肉夹馍、菜面，也喜欢菜、火锅、烧烤，很多中国菜。学习韩语的时候，我喜欢跟我的朋友聊天儿，我很喜欢问他们问题，认识他们。
Learning Chinese, I get a lot of things wrong, and I just made it.
你好，
大家好，我叫崔妍妍，我是陕师大的汉语老师。因为我觉得学习语言很重要，你学习一个不一样的语言以后，你可以跟别人 communicate 交流沟通，所以你可以了解更多的世界。You can know a better word, like you can know more things you don't know in your country. So this is the reason, I think.
So did you notice what happened other than the volume getting high? What happened is all these people who are from a foreign country trying to learn Mandarin are nervous, making mistakes. Did you see the level of confidence when they were speaking Mandarin? It was not that high, right? They were making mistakes. So what I want to reiterate here is that don't be afraid or don't feel bad when you make mistakes, when you are learning English or any other language for that matter. Now these people may be very fluent in English, but when it comes to Mandarin, they're like, Ingwan, right? So it happens, and it happens in every language. But the most single attribute which makes you a good communicator is your level of confidence. If you are confident enough to just walk up to the person and try and talk, I'm going to share a very simple example with you. This is another talk which I'm going to cover later. If you had a rule in your school or university that you can only speak English, not even a single word of Mandarin or any other language, and if you use any other word, you will have to pay a fine or you will be simply not allowed to take any more classes. What will happen? The first day someone would say, "Hi, my name is Peter," and you would be like, "What about you?" But as you keep going on, trying to understand what he is trying to say, "Hi, my name is Peter. What about you?" Soon there will be a day when you understand these words. My name is Yang. You would be able to understand these words. My name is. So how does it happen? Because when you have human connection, when you talk to a person in front of you, that is a totally different experience than what you learn in books. Of course, books are very important. That's how you get the knowledge in the fastest possible manner. I've learned a lot of Chinese words in just 3 months. I don't think I learned these many words in the last 2 years as I learned in the past 3 months. Why? There are 2 important reasons. One is having the right environment. I went to a classroom. Even though I have a day job, I woke up at 5 a.m. every day to go to the university and attend the classes along with the other foreign students. Because environment is the most important factor when you're learning a language. Sitting in a room watching videos helps, but not as much as sitting in a room full of people speaking that language, interacting with those people. That is one. And second is having a correct agenda, a set of instructions, the way you have to do it. And that comes from experienced people, people who have written books. The books that I was reading were having a very clear structure. This is where you start, ni hao. And this is where you end, the whole passage in Chinese. So that's how you have to structure your learning experience and make sure you're following the steps. So this is an infographic. Do you understand the word infographic? It's a graphic which gives you information. So that's an infographic. And this, the biggest part of this language's infographic is Chinese. And the second largest would be English, which includes the UK and US. And there are more than 6,500 languages in the world. So you can learn as many languages as you want. And it's only going to help you when you move to a different country or someone comes from a different country to China, and you will be the only one in your college, in your office, or in your organization who can talk to the person, who can make a connection right away. This is very important in sales or any other business you want to get into. This is going to give you an edge. Now, what are the other benefits of learning second or third language? You become smarter. This has been proved by many studies in different universities. When you are speaking your mother tongue, most probably you're only using the left side of your brain. But when you try and speak in another language, especially English, which is quite different from Mandarin in terms of grammar, sentence structure, many other things, you're trying to use the right side of your brain as well. And as you try and do that quite often, you become smarter. You also become a good multitasker, because a person who can speak two languages knows how to switch from English to Mandarin, then back to English. Your brain gets trained, is able to switch faster. As a fact, there is nothing called multitasking. We think that we are multitasking, but actually our brain is switching very fast from one thing to another. And if you can speak more languages, it will be able to switch faster. That's why you become good at multitasking. Your memory improves. There is less chance of diseases like Alzheimer's and dementia. Have you heard of Alzheimer or dementia? As you grow old, you're going to start forgetting things. Where are my keys? Where's my other shoe? You don't remember things. You'll start forgetting. But if you speak more than one language, there's less chance, or at least it will be delayed. As per the studies, usually if the average age of getting dementia is 70, it will go beyond 75 or 80. So you're fighting something so strong that even science is not able to solve yet. You will be able to get better at decision making. Again, this is related to science. If you're going to read more about, or just watch more TED Talks about learning languages, you will learn how you become better at making decisions. Myths. Babies can learn faster. How many of you believe that? Please raise your hands. Okay, I'm pretty sure I used the word myth, otherwise I would have had more hands in the room. So babies can learn faster. Many people have seen that happen in your own house. You can see that, even I can see, I have a kid, 1.5 years old, and I'm pretty sure if he stays in China, within 2 years, he's going to speak fluent Chinese, and I would still be struggling with Kushal Ashok. So, babies can learn faster. Why? Because they have the environment. They don't have to work 9 to 5. They don't have to, worry about money or do so many other things in the day. Every single hour of the day, if they are in the environment, let's say they have Chinese parents, you're listening to Chinese the whole day. Second, they have no ability to use the second language. For me, as soon as it gets hard, as soon as there's too many Chinese people in the room, I feel like I I should probably try and move to an English environment because that's more comfortable to me. I would try and switch. Even now, some of you would be thinking, I wish he would just switch to Chinese, right? So it happens, but babies don't have that thinking. They don't have that option. They don't know what is Chinese, what is English. What they know is you're trying to say something to them and they have to figure it out. When I'm telling my kid the no, he doesn't know what no means. He just understands from my actions, from my behavior. Oh, no means no, don't do it. But he would slowly grasp it. And if you learn by experience, by environment, that's the fastest way to learn. So, again, coming back to the facts, we as adults are smarter. We know how to use YouTube or Youku and watch videos, online tutorials. So we are smarter. If we spend the equal number of hours as any of those babies, I'm sure we can beat them in learning the language. Then China speaks Chinese, India speaks Hindi, and America speaks English. Is that correct? Yeah? Okay. But I wrote it's a myth, so maybe not. Let's have a look. In India, we have so many languages, right? I mean, this is not even half of it. There are many more languages in India. And I come from New Delhi, which is over here. And I speak Hindi. But when I go south and try and speak Hindi, guess what happens? They do not understand me. Nobody speaks Hindi over here. Okay? So it's just like China. You do have local dialects, right? If you try and speak it in another part of the China, probably they're not going to understand you. You will have to write down Mandarin. And this happened with me as well. As a foreigner, I walked into the shop and I tried to buy something. And I was not able to say the right word and not understanding what the shopkeeper is trying to explain. Guess what they did? Took out a paper and started writing down Mandarin, which is even more complex for me. I was like, what? Why are you trying to write Mandarin? And then later, my friend told me that in China, since you have so many dialects, they find it that if they write it down, the confusion of these four tones, would be not there, right? If you write it down. So that's the reason they write it down. But I didn't know that. So just like China, India, and even America, we don't have just one language. Hindi might be popular, but it's not everywhere. Unlike China, Mandarin is definitely everywhere, I guess. You learn it in the schools. But still, like I said, if you want to get close to the culture, to the people, it would be better if you learn those local dialects. If you really want to get into the culture, if your job requires you to do a research in a particular section of the culture. So let's watch another video here, which is shared by many people about learning English.
It opens a world of opportunities. So it's very important to improve your English communication skills.
English is so important. Learning English is my way of relaxing. Improve yourself, keep learning.
My advice to you is whatever you're learning, try to use it in your daily life. If you're learning English or another language, try to use that language. Just try to say different things in that language or in class. Don't be afraid to answer questions. Don't be afraid to try, even if you might get it wrong. You have to keep trying, and that's one of the best ways to really learn a language.
Is that I can read the lecture on drama.
Kosher.
Enables me to see the bigger world and share my ideas.
Confidence.
And don't be afraid to make mistakes. It's okay.
Practice with English.
It can be hard if you can't practice with a native speaker, but if you can, you should. I learned Chinese better when I was speaking with Chinese people. So I think it could be the same with English.
To be more adaptable, have passion in life.
Yeah, that's all. Thank you.
So this was Chinglish. No, it was just a combination of Chinese people and American people or people from different countries trying to share their views why learning English is important and how you can improve upon that. So the one most important thing that I found while learning Mandarin was to use a trick called mnemonics. Have you ever heard of this term? Mnemonics. It's to make a story. Especially with Chinese, Mandarin, it really helps a lot. Because you have all these different meanings. Like if you make a box, it's a mouth, right? It's a square, it's a ko, right? But if you try and relate ko with shoe or many other characters, you're gonna come up with a whole new story. I am making those stories every day in the classroom. And these stories help me remember how to at least read the character, if not write. And the second thing, to be able to write, what do you guys do? Most of us just keep writing as many times as possible till you remember it. So for Mandarin, what I found was that I keep writing the same character till I fill the whole book, until I remember the character. So it's the same application can be done in any other language. For English, when you find a new word, what can you do? Either you just keep memorizing it, keep repeating it, or make a story. Try and make a story out of the different syllables of the word. You can find the syllables which are most stressed upon. Whenever you read a word, there are certain syllables which have more stress. Try and identify those. Try and understand, how can I make a story out of it? Let's do an example. There's a word called misunderstanding. Misunderstanding. Now, a very funny way of doing it. Now, all these stories have to be funny, have to be exaggerated. They have to be very, very weird. If they are very simple or technical, you'll forget them. So the funny way would be to make it distributed, to divide it into certain words and then make a story. Let's say misunderstanding. So miss can be a woman. Understanding could be a woman standing downstairs. And then you make a story that the woman is always downstairs, not understanding what I'm trying to say because she's so further down. Let's say I'm on level 10 and she's on the ground floor. But I'm trying to shout something and she cannot understand. She cannot understand because of the distance. But you have to picture it. Imagine this whole thing happening with you. There's a miss standing downstairs and she cannot understand you. And there are many different things. There's like another example in one of the TEDx talks which you can watch online, where a guy is trying to learn a language by making a story about a bar. So he walks into a bar and he sits down and then he repeats the word everywhere. Because this is your story. You can imagine and put the word everywhere. Like I can imagine the word bird written over here and written on the slides, written on someone's face. You just imagine it, that this is on someone's forehead. But because you imagined it, that picture is in your head and you're not going to forget it. So that's how I usually make funny stories and exaggerated ones which help me remember what exactly this word means. So what I'm going to have to tell you now is, no matter which language you're learning, there's one thing and only one thing that can make you succeed, is the practice. The more practice you do, the more you make an attempt to talk in that particular language, listen to it. For English, I always suggest to use things like podcasts. If you listen to the podcast, you're not able to see anything. So first is video, of course, right? You will start with video because you get body language. But when you move to the level 2, you have to start listening. Like I try to listen to Chinese songs or radio stations, which actually speak too fast, right? But I still feel, if I get one word, oh yeah, I know why. I know this one. So at least you get that sense of achievement. I know this word at least. And then you're going to keep increasing the number of words in your vocabulary. And that's how you grow. So the practice can be done in many different ways. But like the people said in the video, is that you have to understand that making the right environment is the step 1. And practicing is the most important step, which is step 2. Alright? Thank you very much.